So I'm Michael Kuzet. I'm the South Central Regional Sales Manager, and I'll be hosting you today. We also have Pat Coleman in the room. He's watching the computer, making sure all this works correctly and can see your comments as you type them in. We also have the Olathe sales team here, as well as many other people in the room to handle any questions that you guys may have. Housekeeping. Submit your questions by writing, and we'll see those as they come in. And at this time, we're not going to promise that it's going to be available later. If I do okay, maybe we will. All right, let's talk about what we're going to do today. We're going to review what we have to offer as Garmin for Adsb. We're going to talk about the flight stream just a little bit. I know we did a webinar right before Oshkosh, but we'll do a quick update on that. We'll talk about Garmin Pilot a little bit. Flight stream product utilizes Garmin Pilot app. And I know several of you may not use this app, so we want to give you just a little highlight on what this app is and how well it works. We're also going to do an update on Adsb nationwide on what's going on in the United States, as well as we're going to look through the world on what's going on with Adsb. So let's get started. Again, the basics of Adsb. I know a lot of you know this, but we're going to cover it quick. Adsb out. This is the mandate. So this is where the GPS information from your aircraft gets sent out to other aircraft and air traffic control. And remember, this is the mandate. This is the only part that has to be done. And it can be done via the extended squitter transponder or the universal access transceiver, or like RGDL 88 box can do that. Adsb in. This is the benefit, and this is not mandated. You do not have to have Adsb in. But this is where you receive weather and traffic coming up to your aircraft. Now, the universal access transceiver can do this, so the GDL88 can also receive Adsb traffic and weather. A portable receiver, such as like the GDL39, that will also bring in traffic and weather. One thing to remember, though, is extended squitters do not receive Adsb in. We still have a lot of customers and pilots coming to the booth at shows getting confused, thinking the transponder can bring this information in. And of course, the ground stations. This is the network out there that's replacing the radar system in the United States. And they're located all over the United States to broadcast and receive Adsb information. All right, so why are we doing this? Well, the radar system is a little old, and it takes about 12 seconds for it to do the sweep. And the thing is, if you're doing 170 knots, in 12 seconds, the aircraft will have moved about a half a mile. If you're doing 350 knots, the aircraft's moved over a mile. So for an air traffic controller, a lot has happened in 12 seconds, especially in a busy airspace. So with Adsb, it updates every second. So for a controller, they can actually see what's going on almost real time. The benefit to this is before, with that 12-second delay, they had to keep us pretty far apart. With Adsb, we're going to be tucked in there a little bit closer, but it'll also help the capacity demands that we're going to have as the future unfolds. So how does this work? Well, we have a WASP GPS in the aircraft, and it takes that information and it broadcasts it out to other aircraft and down to the ground stations. So this is the big one. Who is affected and when? As our rep out in the Northeast, Michael Kerrigan, noted to us, we talk about 2020 a lot, and it's really not 2020. It's December 31st, 2019. That's when everything needs to be done. And when you talk about this to a lot of pilots, like 2019, that is when everything needs to be done. So who's affected? Anywhere a transponder is required today will need Adsb. So that's Class A, B, and C airspace. All Class E airspace above 10,000 feet and within 30 miles of a busy airport from the surface to 10,000 feet. Also, for those of you out over the Gulf, you'll need Adsb because this is an area where the Gulf of Mexico oil rig operators are operating. So you'll need it out there as well because of the traffic out there. So what equipment is required? Well, of course, it depends. If you're over 18,000 or under. For those of you over 18,000 feet, you're going to need an approved position source like the GTN or the GNS. Remember, If you don't have WAS on your GNS, you can upgrade that for $33.95. For over 18,000, you also need a Mode S transponder with the extended splitter, much like our 330ES or 33ES can do. If you want Adsb in, you can use the GDL88 at any altitude, and it'll bring in the traffic and weather information to display it for you. Now, for you guys under 18,000 feet, you still need the GTN or GNS WAS series for your position source. But now you can use the UAT transceiver like the GDL88 to broadcast that position out. Now, the Mode C transponder, you still need to have a Mode C transponder. We're going to still have to have those. But the great thing about the GDL88 is it's self-interrogation. If you have an older transponder, we can still work with that. So that's the great thing about the 88. Let's talk about the 88 just a little bit. So it's compliant Adsb out below 18,000 feet. It's also Adsb in, so it brings in your traffic and weather for you. The great thing, like I just mentioned, it's compatible with a majority of the transponders out there due to the self-interrogation mode that we have. Now, what if the airplane doesn't have WAS? We do sell a model of the 88 that has WAS in it. And we'll talk about that here just a little bit. So a lot of people wonder what the weather from Adsb is like, because many have XM already. So let's compare the two. The nice thing about Adsb weather is you do get the NOTAMs with that. So you'll get the NOTAMs across the United States. XM and Adsb both have NEXRAD, TFRs, METARs, TAFs. You'll get winds aloft, airmets, SIGMETs, and freezing levels as well. You also get PIREPs out there. That's it for Adsb. So there's your host of products for weather that you can get with Adsb. Now XM has a few extra things like echo tops and lightning. That's key to note that XM does have lightning. That information is actually third-party data that XM purchases. So that's why the FAA isn't giving it to us for free. We also have storm tracks with XM and surface analysis maps. And of course, the more expensive XM subscriptions, you can get all kinds of good stuff. Let's talk about the GDL88, the traffic. The FAA has been trying very hard to deal with runway incursions, and they've really supported technology to do that. And here at Garmin, we've done a very good job with that. With surface technology, or what's called SURF, we're able to see aircraft on the same taxi map. So if the aircraft is broadcasting Adsb out, you'll be able to see them on the airport. So if you're sitting here getting ready to take off, and another aircraft is just quietly taxiing across your airport or your runway, you'll be able to see that and make decisions appropriately. Target trend. Many of you already have seen this. This is probably one of my favorite products. If you're flying in a busy airspace and you see this traffic page, you have to keep an eye on all the aircraft out there. So as you see the aircraft, the two aircraft at about 11:30, you don't know exactly what they're doing relative to your position. But now with target trend, with the green arrows, we can see what these targets are going to do to us. They're actually, the system is calculating we're going to intercept. So instead of staring at all the different targets out there, I can quickly see which targets are going to be a problem here quickly in the future. Because we don't really want to be staring at the target page or the traffic page on your avionics. You'd rather have your head out looking for the ones that are actually a threat. And with target trend, we can do that. So what if you already have a traffic system? Well, the good news is we work with several other traffic systems, and it inputs it straight to the GDL88. And the 88 will blend the traffic, so you only have one target. All right, the different versions and pricing. I'm actually going to start over here to the right, the GDL88 diversity with WAS. So the diversity is 2 antennas, one on top and one on bottom with WAS. So if you need a WAS box, it's internal to that system. Moving over to the left, it'll be just one antenna with WAS. And then you have the GDL88 with just diversity. So you're getting your GPS WAS position from your GNS or your GTN. And then finally, the straight GDL88 which will pick the WAS information off your own GPS, and one antenna on the bottom. Display compatibilities. So for the guys who still have the GNS series, we don't have as many products of the weather that we just talked about on a few slides before. We'll display NextRad, METARs, and TAFs. For the traffic, it's just TIS-A symbology, and you can only do 8 targets. A lot of people question if we did that on purpose to force people to buy GTNs. And the reason is that we can only do that much with the GNS series. It's because, if you remember, the processor in the GNS is a 386 processor. I would love it if somebody would comment that they're watching this webinar on a 386 processor computer, but I doubt it would even run a web runner probably. So the great thing about the GTN, it does all the FAA weather and NOTAMs. It does all the traffic. It has the target trend and surf on it as well, and you can display up to 60 targets if you'd like to see them all. Adsb nationwide. So a lot of people think the FAA may extend their date on this, and the reality is this is the slide that they can say we're probably not going to extend because the national network is already up and has been up since March of 2014. So the FAA did well. They built that system and they kept with their promise in getting it up on time. So for aircraft all over the United States, they have coverage. Also, let's look at the whole the whole world. A lot of people think this ADS-B mandate just affects the United States, but the reality is it affects the whole world. In Australia, they already have requirements for certain airspaces, and by 2017, any IFR-capable aircraft is going to need ADS-B. In Europe, they've already adopted the ADS-B system for several years for certain type of aircraft and certain systems. So you can see the technology is coming to not only the United States, but to the whole world. We have a webinar just a few weeks ago, actually right before Oshkosh, about the flight stream, and I know some of you missed that, so we're going to touch on it real quick. It's a remote Bluetooth gateway into the cockpit, and it communicates ADS-B weather and traffic between your tablet and the Garmin avionics. So your Garmin panel-mounted equipment is now wired directly to the flight stream, and then you can connect via Bluetooth to 4 compatible mobile devices with this. There's 2 models of flight stream. We got the flight stream 110 and the 210. Let's cover the 110 quick. So with the 110, you can see weather and traffic with it coming from your GDL88 or your GDL69. So you'll be able to see XM weather with this over on your Garmin Pilot app. The flight stream 210 includes all the features of the 110, but it also has an internal AHRS in it. So now your synthetic vision that you have on Garmin Pilot, you'll be able to see your attitude on that, as well as the split screen on Garmin Pilot. So on the right side, we have the flight instruments, and we'll have a working attitude indicator, as well as a moving map with traffic and weather on the left side. And as well, we can do flight plan transfer between Garmin Pilot and the GNS series and the GTNs. So some of the interfaces, we interface with the flight stream interfaces with GTN and GNS WAS that communicates your GPS position and does the flight plan transfer. It also ties into the GDL88 for the weather, traffic, and we'll also get GPS position from there as well. GDL69, you'll get your XM weather onto Garmin Pilot, and you'll be able to control audio from Garmin Pilot. Now, there's been a few questions about this. You don't get audio on your iPad. You actually just be able to control the stations from your iPad on your avionics. And by the end of the year, we'll be able to pull out the attitude information from the G500 and 600 and display that as well. Pricing table, flight stream 210 is $999, and the 110 is $549. We're still looking for October for availability on that. There's several hundred on order, so if you're looking to pre-order, do it soon. The presentation we had, we didn't have the install manual ready for the flight stream. It is available now on the DRC. And just a quick note, the DRC has changed a little bit. If you guys have seen it, we're curious on what you think. So this would be a good opportunity. Tell us what you think about the new DRC in the comment section, if you like it or if you don't. Jumping back here, on the DRC, click Manuals, in the air. On avionics, you click the Other section, and you'll see the flight stream 110, 210 there. And when you click Search, you'll see the PDF there for you. What software is needed? GTN 5.11 will be ready in October. GNS 5.5.2. TSO is expected in October as well. GDL 88 3.0, hopefully still here in August. Got a few days left. GDL 69 is available today with 4.02. G3X, Q3 of 2014. Garmin Pilot 7.0. You've got to have that software on the Apple products, and it'll be ready in September. And for Android, you need 4.0, and it will be coming out in September as well. So as I mentioned, many of you may not have used Garmin Pilot. So as you tell the operators, hey, on the flight stream, you're going to need to utilize Garmin Pilot. You may get some kickback on that because some people haven't used Garmin Pilot yet. Let's just do a quick look at it to see why it's such a good app. You'll notice here, this is the home screen on Garmin Pilot. It should look pretty familiar because you notice it's very similar to the home screen on a GTN. We do that on purpose. Here's the moving map on the Garmin Pilot on my iPad. I'm actually flying down to Dallas. I'm going south in track up mode. And you can see by our map, all the nomenclature is vertical, so I can easily see it. I can also easily see the airports. I can see airspace, and I can see the weather. Many other apps don't have maps like we do. So a lot of times they'll stitch in the airport or the sectionals because they don't have anything else to use. So that's what a sectional looks like instead of using the Garmin maps. As you can see, it's definitely not as usable. You don't know what airports are where, and it's difficult to see the airspace. Here's a better example. I'm also flying south in track up mode with the IFR low. As you can see, all the verbiage is upside down. I really can't use it. In a section like this, I'd like to see where Victor 13 is. It's going to be tough to tell where Victor 13 is because it's all upside down. Victor 13 is actually this line here, and we'll see a better representation here in a minute. But another question is, where's the airspace here? You don't know. Where are the nearest airports? It's hard to tell. But Garmin Pilot, look at this. Here's Victor 13, very nicely labeled. Here's the airspace, very nicely shown. You can see exactly where it is, and now you can see exactly where the airports are. It's a much better presentation of an IFR chart than just using the IFR low, and only Garmin Pilot has it. We also show traffic and weather, of course. We're trying to get around a storm here. We're all the way down here by the VOR. And there's several other aircraft trying to skirt around as well. We have target trend on Garmin Pilot, just like on the GTN. So here I can keep an eye on the aircraft that are around me and which direction they're going in relative to my position. We talked about surf on the GTN, and we also have it on the Garmin Pilot app. And here I'm actually flying over DFW. You can see all the airplanes lining up to fly. And you can see American Airlines 1037 running down the runway getting ready to take off. Also on Garmin Pilot with a synthetic vision screen, utilizing the AHRs from either a GDL 39 or the flight stream. You can see I'm in a right turn here. You also see the yellow where the terrain is showing up, and off into the distance you can also see a tower that shows terrain and obstacles. Actually coming into land here, you guys probably wonder if I'm actually flying an airplane or taking screenshots. I will say Jim Alpizer's was actually flying this time. We're going into John Toon, setting up for a nice landing on runway 22. Quite a good display here. As well, you get to split screen. So on the right-hand side, you have a working attitude indicator. And on the left, you have the traffic and your position on the map. So why Garmin? The compatibility between Garmin and the other equipment is amazing. We tie in with so many other range of transponders. We work with other traffic systems, And obviously we work with thousands of GNS and GTN units that are already out there in the field. And soon we're going to be working with the G500. We have multiple Adsb solutions, and that's the nice thing. So with Garmin, you have access to a UAT system with the GDL88, so you can have in and out. Or the 1090 system with the GTX 33 or the 33ES for just an Adsb out solution over 18,000 feet. You can utilize the portable GDL39 for in solution on Garmin Pilot, or you can even utilize our FlightStream products for Adsb and flight plan transfer. No one else offers this much as far as a complete solution goes. Target, Trend, and SERP, you just saw how we can utilize those, and our goal is to provide safety benefits that are so easy to use that actually make a difference, and these two products do exactly that. Self-interrogation. We are the only company to offer this type of technology that works with so many other manufacturers of transponders. Wireless connectivity with tablets. With FlightStream, you can wirelessly work with panel mount avionics, offering Adsb weather and traffic, and even weather from your XM system, as well as flight plan transfer from an app that is so similar to the way the GTN looks. Experience. Back in the mid-1990s, our group out of Salem, Oregon, Garmin AT, started working with the FAA to help develop the Capstone program back in Alaska, the predecessor to Adsb. We're also part of the Ohio River Valley Project, and since 2008, for 6 years, we've been supplying extended splitter transponders for Adsb outs. In the end, we offer the widest range of products with the most options for the customer to provide the solutions that meet their needs. And we couldn't have done it without the support of you guys, our dealers, to continue to provide the customers and us your experience in the market. And for that, we really thank you.